What's up, and welcome back to the Scuffed Ass Podcast for episode number 323. And Wonder's alive now. He's over here.
Yeah,
That's
I
weird.
have re-arrived.
He has re-arrived. This is good. That's better. That's probably better.
I hope so. I feel like I have nothing to talk about, although so much has happened since the last time we podcasted.
That's interesting. I feel like you'd have a lot to talk about. You've had to, fight the horrors of having a child.
Right, which I'll probably share some of what went on.
Yeah.
As far as that went, because it went completely opposite of what we were hoping.
Oh yeah, because you haven't podcasted since pre-baby.
Yep. So
I forgot.
Yeah, it is. It has been a time. But before I get into all that, how's it been for you? I know it hasn't been as long.
It's been a
you
time.
Podcasted, but
it's been a time. This week wasn't so bad, though. Did I? Yeah, no. I mentioned last week that there were a bunch of issues with the power in this place.
Yes.
So that was partially solved. I found another outlet that doesn't work, but that one is linked to a switch, and I think the switch has gone bad. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
But also maybe not. I don't know. It's weird. For this room and the other room, though. So this building's really old. So
I assume
you know how that is with a lot of like old places. All of the outlets are wired like in a chain. So the actual outlet that is bad is probably not the one that's not functioning. Well, the first maintenance guy, who is not an electrician and I'm pretty sure is new here, or they lied to us when we were touring. Because when we were touring, they were like, we have only one maintenance lady. And then they said, like, now there's also a maintenance dude, which, whatever, not a big deal. But, like, I think he's new. But he's not an electrician. Right. He didn't know that was a thing. So he came in, tried to replace the outlets that weren't working. That did nothing. And then he went, I don't know, and left. And was like, I'll tell, the actual, like, supervisor, main maintenance lady. And, but she probably won't get here till next week. And I was like, well, can you let her know that I, like, work from home and can't fucking do anything until you get in here to fix this? And he was like, you know what? I can tell her that doesn't mean much. And that night, we had the concert we had to go to. And like right before the concert, though, the main maintenance lady called and was like, I know it's after hours for everything here, but can I just come fix your shit for you? Because, I'm not going to be around until next week, and that's probably not good since you guys work from home. And we were like, yes.
Please.
So yeah, she ended up, apparently the first outlet in the run in both rooms was bad. Like it was wired incorrectly for some reason.
That makes sense, because most outlets, you got two wires and a ground.
Yeah.
But if you have the chain outlets, you have extra wires. So sometimes people get confused on how to wire those in, because some outlets have like little inserts in the back for specifically chain stuff. And if you don't get those inserted quite right, or even get them like in there enough and nice and tight, sometimes you don't get good enough connection, and it will just, that outlet will work, but the rest of them just won't.
Yep. That's
but
and then the other one is, so we have, a lot of rooms don't have lights in them, so they have outlets wired to a switch. I'm very confused on this one. This one breaks my brain. Because every outlet in that room works, except for, so the outlet that's wired to the switch is not the entire outlet. It's not both of them. It's only one of them. And only the one that's connected to the switch doesn't work, which is why I think it's an issue with the switch, obviously. That's why my brain goes there. But yeah, because the outlet right below it that is in the same fucking thing works. Only the one that's connected to the switch doesn't, which is really weird.
Right. So the one that's connected to the switch is probably not connected to any of the other outlets, I'm assuming.
Probably not. But I don't really know how that
Because-
works because it's the same socket, you know.
Right, but it probably has its own supply to
Has
it.
to.
Because
to.
if you have them all on that same switch, then they would all work off of that one switch.
Right. Yeah. So that's fun. So I gotta set up another maintenance order for that. And our washer is weird. So I gotta set up 2 more maintenance orders. The washer works. It just screams. It is so loud in a way that makes no sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay. My mom recently got a new washer.
Mm-hmm.
And it, when it's running, sounds like the evacuation alarms on Star Wars.
Amazing.
It is so annoying, honestly.
That's
So mom will so Brienne, because my sister
yeah.
lives with my folks, and so she has a habit of doing laundry at either 3 o'clock in the morning or like 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's trying to sleep, and the washer is like on the other side of the wall from her headboard. And
Yeah.
so every time she puts a load in the washing, she's trying to sleep, and it's like just it never stops until it's done.
That tracks.
It's so funny. It was funny. I walked in the house after they got it. I was like, "What is that noise?" And she's like, "That's our washing machine." If I'd have known it made that noise when we bought it, we would not have bought it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's tough. Hey, so just for fun, now that at least the background portion of my setup is done. Well, I gotta get rid of this shelf, but that's unimportant. The PlayStation now exists as an actual thing I get to show off.
Oh yeah.
The fancy PlayStation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah.
And that's all. I don't know. All I've been doing is moving, and all of it's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have to move for a while after you get this moved.
Oh no, I definitely am. This place sucks, and I don't want to stay here. I'm so over it, dude.
Fair enough.
If I was rich enough to have gotten a lawyer, I know I could have gotten out of my lease without having to pay anything. I just didn't want to pay a lawyer because I fucking would have. Because everything that they lied about that got us in here, But then it was also okay, I get out of here, but I don't have a lease at the other place still. So where the fuck do I go? I guess I'll just stick this out and be pissed about it for a year.
Right.
But no.
Yeah.
This one's not it. This one's not it at all.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I haven't been able to stream in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not being able to do my job has not been fun.
Yeah. It's okay. I haven't slept in a few weeks, so.
Okay, but part of that's on you. And it's on me. When this first happened, when the baby first showed up, you would get free time and you would come play video games.
Well, yeah. I can't sleep during the day.
Yes, you can. You literally have your whole life.
No. That's because I started sleeping at like 2 or 3 in the morning and then slept through the day. That's different. Unless I was bartending, then that was a different time period where I wouldn't get home until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then it was, I'd game with you until like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and then go to sleep.
It was good times.
Yeah,
you should go back to that.
I do miss those times, but I don't like that. Like no matter how much sleep I got, I always felt tired.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like. For me, the ideal place to fall asleep is like midnight, maybe 1 o'clock at the latest. I'm like that midnight person that if I go like all nighters, I still feel tired even though I sleep throughout the day because my body's like, hey, it's daytime, you shouldn't be sleeping, but we need sleep. So, but yeah,
See, and I'm just like, the sun's out. That means it's bedtime. Kaplump.
it was pretty nice though. So Aspen's parents came out,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they stayed with us for a while. And Aspen's mom has sinus issues, so she's been sleeping in a recliner anyway. So she has just been taking the baby and sleeping with the baby in the recliner and letting Aspen and I get a little bit of sleep in our bed.
Mm-hmm.
And they just this today was their last day. They went home, so it's back to just Aspen and I. So back to sleeping on the couch with me for me. Since little Miss Tatum doesn't like to sleep on her own, she every once in a while we can get her to sleep on her own, but she only sleeps during the day like that. At night, she's either A, wide awake, or B, she'll have to sleep with somebody, or as soon as you put her down, she starts freaking out.
That's not good.
So, yeah, hopefully that'll break in a few months. That she can sleep on her own and also start sleeping longer. Because right now, every 2 or 3 hours, she wakes up and she's ready to be fed. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But she's doing well. She's gaining weight fast. She gained 6 ounces in 7 days.
That's
So
crazy.
she's gaining roughly an ounce a day.
So she's got your
Um,
appetite.
yes, yes. She sometimes you'll feed her, and then 30 minutes later she's wanting to fed again. Um, so, but I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing.
We can't both be yawning the whole show.
Well, better get used to it because I'm going to be doing that
Yeah,
for the
dude.
next 18 years of my life.
I don't get that part, but I do. But so today I had to. So today I had to wake up at like. I know this sounds like it's late in the afternoon, but I had to wake up at like 11 so I could go do. Um, we decided to pay somebody to come pick up my old mattress and bed frame and shit that were fucked up and, remove them or whatever. So I had to, drive way back downtown and whatever. And so I had to be up all early, which meant I got like 3 hours of sleep and I already haven't been sleeping well because it's like, well, I got to move stuff. And then it's like, well, I got to put stuff away. And then it's like, well, I can't go to bed. There's still so much shit to do because my house is still a fucking mess.
Right.
So, yeah, that's not fun. I'm tired. I'm sick of this bullshit.
Yeah. The other thing I'm so tired about is the last couple days I've spent so much time on my yard and feel like I've gotten nowhere. But with Aspen's parents being here, I took the advantage of that to actually do some yard work. And
Yeah.
we've had so much wind here that there's just on the one side of my house there was mounds of tumbleweeds and corn leaves. And it was ridiculous because we have a burn pit here in town, but unfortunately, when it got full, a whole bunch of people just piled their crap out on the road and it pissed off the town, and so they just closed it. And so now I have nowhere to take it, so I had to take it out to my folks' place where they have like this pit and dump it in that pit. That was what I had to do, which was much more of a pain in the ass.
I bet.
But I don't know. Just feel like I have so much to do and like just so busy and unable to do things,
Yes,
But
I do.
I think that's just being anxious about the new, you know, I don't know, like the new rhythm we're in right now.
Not your favorite rhythm, I take it?
Yeah, it's just taking some getting used to,
Fair. That's
But
fair.
it'll be good. It'll be fine in a few months, I'm sure.
Dude is really excited for a few months.
I don't know about it. I mean, I'm excited, but like,
No, I just mean you keep talking about, well, in a few months it'll get better. It's like I hope so, man.
well, yeah, because once baby starts sleeping through the night, it'll be a lot nicer.
That's fair.
Uh, but until then, it's just going to be a lot of restless nights.
That's fair.
But she sure is a cutie. I don't know how my genetics made something so cute, to be honest. Like, I get Aspen exists, but like also me, my genetics.
Right.
But fortunate for her, she did not take after dad, apparently.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that she kind of got my skin color, which, if anybody's ever seen me in person, I'm kind of like an olive color.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors kept thinking she had bad jaundice. So we had to keep doing like bilirubin tests and stuff. I think we ended up doing like 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they always came back fine. So our doctor was just like, well, I think she just has dad's skin complexion and just looks a little yellow. So
You'll take it.
which most babies have, like a little jaundice, you know. Um, their bodies just aren't able to filter
Mm-hmm.
yet. They're not developed enough. But this last test, I think our doctor was like, all right, she seems to be doing fine. As long as she's, pooping and peeing fine, she's, filtering stuff out. So.
Mm. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. It all turned out the best possible, I would say, given the circumstances that we ended up going through, which I'll explain here in a second.
Yeah.
Just trying to finish eating my Eggos.
Dude got dinner.
But anywho, so what had happened was, give me a second.
So what happened was,
so April 3rd was a normal scheduled doctor visit for us because she is, so Aspen was already 2 days overdue. And so we went in, we talked to our doctor, and she was like, okay, what are you guys planning? And our plans were, we wanted a natural birth. We didn't want any epidurals, spinal blocks, drugs, really. Just wanted everything to be natural, And so our doctor was like, oh, well, if you're fine with it, then I'm fine with it. But because we are overdue, I want to start doing stress tests to make sure the baby's doing okay. So she wanted us to start doing that every 3 days. So we went across the street to the hospital, and for our first stress test. And we walk in there, and they start hooking Aspen up to a bunch of machines and stuff like that, so they can monitor the baby's vitals and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, how, I don't know what a stress test is. I'm like, so how long do these normally take? Because I'm wanting to get home because we have a brand new dishwasher, and I wanted to get it all wired in and ready to use. And so she's like, oh, usually you're in and out of here within 15-20 minutes. I'm like, okay, not too bad. So we're in there, and 15-20 minutes rolls by, and the nurse that was helping us kind of just didn't do nothing with us, didn't say much to us, and then after, I mean, it was like 2 hours later, and we're like, what is going on? Like, is there something wrong, or what's the issue? Why are we still here? And the nurse, so we asked the nurse, I'm like, what's going on? Is there something wrong? Or she's like, well, I don't like exactly what I'm seeing, but I'm waiting for our you guys' doctor to come over and look at it first before I make any decisions. I'm like, okay. Well, apparently our doctor was in some kind of procedure. So 3 hours later, we finally have our doctor come in, and she's looking at the charts and she's like, not really liking what I'm seeing with this chart. So we're going to give you some fluids and see if that helps perk up the baby. So Aspen got a bunch of fluids, and it helped a little bit. Baby kind of spiked a little bit, but then kind of went back down again and really wasn't being active. And so our doctor was like, well, there's something wrong. You're definitely not going home. So they moved us into the labor and delivery room, which is just our regular room for the time being. And they gave her the induction pill to see if she would, go into labor. Well, they gave her the induction pill, but she's still hooked up to the monitors, monitoring the baby and everything. Well, it wasn't 10 minutes later, baby started to not do well and wasn't doing anything. And so our doctor was like, you're going in for an immediate emergency C-section. And so, of course, it's one thing when you plan for a C-section or you kind of have an idea that, oh, this is going to happen. We weren't expecting this, even though we were overdue. We were not expecting it. So it was like, oh my goodness. And then like just within a few minutes, they're hooking Aspen up to all these things and people are walking everywhere and flying everywhere and asking questions and shit's just chaos. And of course, when you aren't expecting it and you're expecting an old birth to all of a sudden you're going to be getting cut open, of course, Aspen was stressed and, extremely upset, and which was making me extremely upset. And, of course, I'm trying to keep my calm, keep my cool. And they wheel her out of the room and they're like, okay, well, we're going to have to try and give her a spinal block because we don't have time for an epidural. The baby's not doing well. So we do not have time for an epidural. We're going to do a spinal block. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to have to put her under and you will not be able to be present for the delivery. And I was like, well, shit, And so I'm sitting outside the operating room, and it felt like an eternity. I'm pretty sure it was only like 10 minutes that I sat out there. But they finally come out and they're like, okay, you can come in. We got a spinal block. We think it's working. And so I come in and, the procedure starts basically. They start cutting and doing their thing. So I, being the dumbass me, decided I want to watch this. So there's just, she's laying on the table and then they got a tarp so she can't see. And it's like a table that looks like it's like the shape of a human. And they just strap you to the table, like your arms and stuff. And they got stuff in your arms. And I'm standing back with the anesthesiologist and he's just sitting there and he's kind of asking questions like, how you feeling? Are you feeling anything? Well, unfortunately, the spinal block was not doing what it was supposed to do. So, unfortunately, Aspen was able to feel most of everything that was happening. The only thing she couldn't feel was the sharpness of her getting cut. That was it. She felt everything else. So,
Jesus.
She was in a lot of, basically, she's being tortured at this point. But there's nothing you can do. This procedures are already started. There's nothing you can do. She can't be pumped full of painkillers yet or any sedatives or anything like that because the baby is still inside of her. So there's nothing the anesthesiologist can do. And so she just has to sit there and bear through the pain. And I'm standing there and I watched him cut her open, and there, you'd be surprised how many layers there are on a stomach. And then Tatum was also kind of wedged down in her pelvis, so the doctor was having a hard time getting a hold of her and getting her out. And I tell you what, it is nuts because after they cut you open, there's a couple of nurses that they just grab a hold of flaps and they just start yanking on that flap, like to the point that it's like literally lifting the mother's body off of the table. It is very traumatic to watch.
Jeez, yeah.
And but anyway, our doctor finally gets hold of the baby, gets her out, and she pulls her out, and the baby had the umbilical cord wrapped twice around her neck, up over the top of her head and down under her armpit. So That was why she was not doing well. She was not getting oxygen. So it was kind of a blessing that we had the stress test when we did, because 24 hours more and this could have been a whole different story, you know. And so anyway, once the baby was out, the doctor was able, the anesthesiologist was able to start pumping some pretty heavy drugs, and so, you know, pain was a little better for Aspen. But it was pretty crazy because baby came out and she was like this grayish blue color, and they unwrapped the umbilical cord and she opened her eyes and then took a big old breath and just screamed. And it was weird because from head to toe her body went from gray blue to pink like instantly, which was crazy how fast the body oxygenates itself. But yeah, everything, you know, everything turned out about as good as it could turn out. We were super relieved once it was all over and done, of course, you know. But yeah, definitely went the exact opposite of what we were hoping to happen. So
yeah.
So then, and right away, our doctor, who's been doing this for a very, very long time, she's delivered half the town that we were in. But anyway, she's like, well, you know, I sewed you back up. So if, you know, kids in your future, if you want to try and have a normal delivery, you can try. And Aspen's like, shit, dog, I don't know if I'm even gonna have another kid after this, you know, after this trauma we've just went through.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, well,
like, you're gonna have to wait for me to forget about this one first before we even think about having kids again.
Yeah.
So for now, it's just gonna be a little Miss Tatum.
That is a little funny to me with like the prior conversations. I mean, obviously it makes sense with how this went, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like prior to this, you guys being like, well, it's like 4 at minimum, and now it's like, you know what? You know, 1 might have been all right.
Well, I mean, 4 was prior to that was pending the pregnancy went off without a hitch, natural delivery happened, things went well, kids are happy and healthy. That was what we were thinking, not the way it went. Now it turned out okay, but also like, that was a lot to endure in a short amount of time. And then also, I swear to God, the hospitals punish the dads on purpose for, oh, well, they don't go through as much pain as the woman does. So we're going to punish them by putting the most uncomfortable goddamn couches on the planet for them to sleep on.
You know, man, I'm not going to feel bad for you, actually. You had an uncomfortable couch and Aspen had to feel her insides be literally ripped apart. I don't care.
I get that sentiment. I get that. I'm not taking anything away from Aspen. She was awesome. She handled things. She was so brave and did so amazing. But also, like, 5 days sitting on, like, laying on that couch. I'd lay on that couch for a little while and my arm, like, I'd wake up and both of my arms would be like dead asleep from laying on my back. Like, how is that even a thing? But it's like, just, you know, hospitals make a lot of money. You can't, like, put something a little more comfortable. Even the hospital beds are not that comfortable. You know, after some of these people have gone through, you can't put comfy beds in the hospitals. Like,
you know, that's fair. That's an acceptable.
And we were like, God, these beds are terrible, you know. And they were like, oh yeah, and those are our new beds too. And it's like, these beds suck. They're awful. I don't understand. I get they have to be able to, like, be easily cleaned with fluids and stuff, but it's like, you can still have comfortable mattresses under the material that is cleanable, you know.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I was so ready to be out of the hospital. I was going stir crazy, just sitting in one room for 5 days, 4 days, or however long we were in there, just sitting in that room,
Yeah.
nothing to do, and very little sleep. It was all that we could have. We were so ready to get out of the hospital
I
and come
bet.
home. But it's also weird because you come home and you're happy to be home, but now you've got a literal human being that you have to keep alive.
Yeah.
Which is so much stress, especially in the first week. And also the weird, like, eerie silence of the house for whatever reason. Like, it's just, even when you got the TV going or you play some music and stuff, it just seems like there's a lot of like dead noise in the house that just, I don't know. It's just hard. I don't understand. I can't explain how it is. Like, I don't think first time parents understand this, but like, it doesn't matter how much company you get, how much, I don't know, help you get. When it's just you two and the baby, you feel so alone. Um, just like it's just a weird feeling. Like, even though you have each other and you're there for each other to raise this child, you just feel like you're alone, you know. And that goes away. Like, I still get that feeling a little bit sometimes. But like, as we have gotten used to the new schedule and getting used to the baby and her, you know, her cues and stuff like that. I feel like we're getting more comfortable and it's not nearly as bad. We're getting into a rhythm. But for those first few weeks, it was kind of, I don't know, it was rough. It was kind of rough for both of us. So, but any first time parents that happen to watch this podcast in the future, just be prepared for like the eerie silence and alone feeling you get after coming home with your firstborn child. After this first one, you kind of know what to expect, I guess. And it's not nearly as bad. It's like, okay, go to the hospital, get your stuff done, and come home with a baby. That's the goal, and you're just kind of ready for it. But the first one is just like a learning curve, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would not change anything. So it has been a very it has been a learning experience, but it's also a good learning experience, if you know what I mean. Just it changes you. I think it makes you more responsible because it makes you think about your child anytime you're doing something or making decisions throughout life. Everything is kind of revolves around your baby now, and your partner. It's like, okay, we're going to be going to do this. How is it going to affect my partner and my baby? So.
Well, luckily, I'm
But
never going to have to learn about the eerie alone feeling.
right. Like, yeah, it's definitely a big difference. Then life completely changes when you have a baby. And sometimes people, they get in their lifestyle and they want to stay in that lifestyle forever. And once they have a child, it's really hard for them to adjust to the new lifestyle. But yeah, I'm really happy everything turned out the way it did. Everything went well. Uh, we're going to be having a wedding here soon, which we're finally getting all the invites done. So I think after today, we pretty much got them all done. So that's a good thing. We're stressed out about that. You know, childbirth kind of ate up a couple weeks of our time. But yeah. And then I'm hoping we get married. I'm hoping that we're able to go on a honeymoon for a weekend or something like that, just to go, just to go somewhere together and be together. And we're probably going to have a babysitter for our child, just so we can, like, uh, you know, we're hermits anyway, as it is. So it'd be all too easy for us to just like stay at home after we got married. But I want to go out and go do something because we've never went and did anything together. Just her and I. We've never went and just went on like a vacation or went camping or
Really?
we've not done anything. Yeah, we have not. We have been so busy with other people and just never really had the opportunity to just go do something, just her and I. So I look forward to that. I'm hoping to get like a 3 or 4 day, you know, which Aspen's stressed out about because she's like, well, I feel bad about leaving our baby for that long. And especially if we end up having um, your mother watch her, I am not, that doesn't bother me any at all.
Yeah.
I know your mother's so good with children, and
Yeah.
and even if it was like she watches her for 2 days, and then the week, like we leave on a Thursday or something, and your mother watches her for Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturdays she gives them to my brother and sister-in-law, and they watch her for till we get back or something like that. We just have to make sure that she has enough food while we're gone, which she can have formula, which is fine with us. She doesn't necessarily have to have breast milk, although we have ample amounts of storage already. So if people are comfortable with that, some people aren't comfortable with that. So if they would rather she use formula, then that's fine. She's not picky is the thing. We were worried that if we breastfed her, then she would not really care for the formula. She doesn't seem to care as long as she's getting fed. She is a little piggy, so she's like, if she's hungry, she doesn't care as long as she's getting sustenance.
She got that from you.
Yes, she did get that from me. She has quite the appetite. So, but anyway, that's my pretty much what's been going on for the last few weeks for me. It's hard to believe that she's already like 18 days old. So,
yeah.
A lot of people say, soak it up. It goes fast. Just enjoy every moment when they're little like this because they're graduating. And it's like I want to soak up these early moments of life as much as possible, but I also want to get to the part where they want to start hunting and they're interested in doing stuff that dad likes to do.
But you also have to be prepared for them to never be interested in doing the stuff you like to do.
Well, right. I get that. But her, Aspen and I being her parents, I have a feeling that she's probably going to be interested in that stuff. Although if she's not, she's interested in other things, I'm totally going to support her in it because I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I have interest in just about anything. She wants to be a choir person. I did a lot of choir. I like singing.
I was gonna say, no matter what it is, you'll figure it out. You'll be supportive. That wasn't what I meant. It's just like you do have to unfortunately be prepared. She may hate all of that, which would suck, but it could happen.
Right. It's highly doubtful because there's not really anyone around her to make her have a different ideology when it comes to that type of stuff. Like we kind of have the country live off the land kind of, mentality from here. And there's not really a lot of people around here that don't have that ideology. So
that's fair.
So I'd be surprised if she's not interested in that stuff, but who knows? You never know. They're their own person.
Nope.
She's her own person. So, all I can do is encourage her to not do bad things.
That's true. That's
I can do is encourage her to be a good. I don't care what you do as long as you're a good person.
That's an acceptable answer.
So,
yeah.
But
yeah, that sounds like an awful beginning to all of this. I'm glad everything's been pretty good since.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, all in all, it worked out. It was just chaos to begin with. So it's just crazy how fast time went too. Like it feels like yesterday we found out, oh, we're pregnant, and then she's here.
Yeah.
So it went so fast, and it's amazing because a lot happened in that 9 months that she was brewing.
Yeah. Well, and
But
it's like it felt like a long time to me, but that's also because, what was it? The first 6 months you didn't tell really anyone, so I just knew this thing that I couldn't tell people. And
right,
I don't
right,
know who knows, so I can't just bring it up. So I'm just like,
right. You
okay,
just wanted to talk about it, but you couldn't.
yeah, a little bit. It's like I don't know who knows, and I,
Trust me,
I can't be the one who has to tell people. If you want to tell
trust me. I
people,
was the
that's on
same
you.
way. I wanted. I was gonna say I wanted to tell every person in the world I could after I found out right away, but was like, we wanted to wait because the first one didn't really, how that
Yep.
turned out. So we
Yep.
wanted to wait and make sure that we got past the critical stage. And once we did, it was like, okay, I can tell everybody now.
Yep. So it's like I remember you
So
said you told me early, and I was like, oh god, tell no one. Good to know. And then people would be like, so is Wonder having a kid? And I'd be like, I don't know. Because I don't know if you know. So I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't tell
right,
me things.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'll bring her onto the podcast, and everybody can say hi.
Oh,
She can say hi.
so that one's up to you guys. Because I also understand not wanting your kid to be on
Right,
the internet too much. Because the internet's a horrifyingly awful place.
right. But well, I mean, we post her on social media,
That's fair.
so it's not it's not like but I'm the type of person that realizes how horrible the world is, so it's like I'm not going to do anything that's going to promote any horrible things on the internet.
Yeah,
So using
for
your
sure.
platform to whatever, that's fine because things will be addressed very quickly if there is any
Yeah,
kind of uh, inappropriate behavior or anything like
that's
that.
fair.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm not too worried about showing her on the streams
that's
or
fair.
anything like that. So
That's fair.
it's a safe place on your channel. Now, random
I was
people,
gonna say we try to
who
make it
knows?
that way at least.
Right, right. People are gonna do what they're gonna do, but like, yeah, I just know it'll be addressed if there ever is a problem on this channel.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's been my life for the last few weeks. I'm sorry that I was unable to podcast for so long.
To
But
be fair, I think you could have outside of that first week, but that's because you were literally in the hospital. We knew that
right,
was coming. That was planned for. Last week, I'm
yeah,
sure we could have had I remembered that the podcast existed sometime before 3 a.m. on Thursday.
right, right. That's true. Because I completely forgot about it also.
Yeah.
Because I had so much stuff that I was just trying to. Well, honestly, I've been trying to figure out how to do all of this paperwork and all this stuff, and we going through insurance. Insurance is kind of a pain in the butt, no matter how you look at it. And somehow, some way, the insurances are going to try and screw you, no matter how good your insurance is. So that's been an issue for us for a while, but finally, I think after today, I've got it all taken care of, so we should be good to go. Um, the biggest issue is I had to get her birth certificate and social security card from
Yeah.
the state of Wyoming because you have to mail them uh, all the paperwork as well as an envelope addressed to yourself with a $25 check and a postal sticker. So it's like, okay, let me just do your job for you. That's cool. As long as you send me the information I need, I guess.
Yeah.
But here's what it is. It actually got here fairly quickly. They said it could take up to 30 days to get the birth certificate and social security card. And I'm glad it did not take that long because insurances coincidentally say, hey, after birth, you get 30 days to add her to your insurance, or she no longer qualifies to go onto the insurance. So it's like, I wonder how they came up with that number. But I mean, worst comes to worst, if we had to, we could have put her on um, Aspen's insurance, which probably would have been a lot faster, but because, well, it probably would have been about the same though, because she would have had to change plans also. So, it is what it is. It works out. We got it all done, taken care of.
Yeah.
So, what sucks is because she was not born during open enrollment and stuff, whatever previous plan I had. So I went with the high deductible plan that they offered for us, which was like $1,700 deductible, which to me was not that bad for cheaper insurance. And you basically got all the same stuff, except it was slightly higher of a deductible than the rest of the packages. So I was like, it made sense for me because I'm by myself. Well, now that I went to a family plan, you can't go to a different plan other than the high deductible one until open enrollment. So I'm stuck with the high deductible. Well, family plan is not quite as cheap. It's a $3,400 deductible. And so I'm probably going to end up, we'll have to pay whatever, because Aspen's on her own insurance and then baby will be on my insurance. So we'll have to pay Aspen's deductible and then also pay my insurance's deductible. But Aspen also has a supplementary, so she's got a primary and a secondary insurance. So we're hoping that the secondary insurance pays most of it, so we don't have to pay pretty much anything for Aspen. But we also have not got a bill yet, so we have, of course, all the medical stuff around here takes forever to get you your bill. So eventually we'll get a bill and we'll know what we owe. So I'm kind of nervous about that because we don't have a ton of money in our savings account, but we can do a payment plan, but I hate doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd rather pay it off so that we don't have to pay any interest. So, but we'll do what we have to do, and it'll work out. But at least by the time it's all said and done, our deductibles will have been met, and we don't have to pay anything from then on for all the rest of the doctor visits and everything will be paid off. So
that'll be nice.
Yeah. Yep. So health insurance is a wonderful thing in the United States.
No. I was watching somebody.
Sarcasm. Very much sarcasm there.
No, I know. I was watching somebody, though, today talk. They had a surgery in Germany. They're an American person in Germany. They paid for, whatever because, even in countries with universal health care, you still pay it in taxes. Or if you're like new there, you pay it in a different way. But it's, the set number that it just is what it is. She had a torn ACL and ended up having this surgery at like a private clinic. And she was in that clinic, it like laid up in there for 5 days afterwards. And she was like, yeah, I got the bill after. Just for the time in the private clinic. And they told me, it was nothing to worry about. That's what the insurance you have is for or whatever. And then she got this bill and she was like freaked out. It was €50. It was €10 a day just because she was in a room in their clinic. That's what she paid.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, if I tore my ACL today, I'd owe like $250,000.
Right.
And they'd probably botch the surgery.
Right. And so they can have another surgery that you have to pay for.
Uh-huh.
Even though it's botched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're thinking that it's going to be over $100,000 bill.
Oh yeah,
because 100%. It was an emergency C-section. So yeah, it's good that we have access to health insurance.
Yeah,
but also kind of crazy how much that would cost without health insurance.
Yeah.
So I don't know how anybody has kids these days that doesn't have insurance. So.
Right.
It's crazy. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I was smart enough to open up Fortnite. After you had texted me
Yeah.
before I got busy with the baby, I opened up Fortnite to get it updating right away, so we don't have to sit there and wait forever. If we decide to play that, if we do something else, that's fine. But that one just always has an update for whatever reason these days. And it wasn't a small one either. It was another like 17 gigabyte update.
Luckily, mine was smaller. My internet here is really weird.
Yeah.
Because, like, it'll be great. Like, it'll be really good. And then it'll also be worse than it was back home.
That's weird.
Again, I don't know if it's because it's the old shitty building or what. But, like, whatever.
Huh.
If it starts actually impacting things I need to do, I'll throw a fit about it. But until then.
Right. Yeah, my it's fine, but every once in a while it just randomly cuts out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And I'm just so ready for fiber to exist in our town. I'm just annoyed that Cody's parents has fiber from our internet. And I don't know if you know where they live or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they don't even live in a town, and somehow they were able to get fiber before us. So.
Well, yeah, but
it's just because
fiber's already been ran along there, and it's not here yet.
Right. Well, technically, fiber has already been run through our town. They just haven't ran it in through down the streets or nothing.
Yeah.
So, which is crazy to me because I asked the guy, I said, well, how much will it cost for me to switch to fiber once you guys get it here? He said, it's free. He says it's free to switch. And then I can, for like 2 gigabytes of download speed, it's like $40 a month.
Yeah.
39 something. I'm like, why does it cost more for me to have shitty internet than it does for me to have good internet? That makes no sense to me. Like, oh, you're paying $100 a month for 100 megabits download speed and 20 upload.
Well, so it's because once the cable is laid, so there's a whole mess here that needs unpacked to explain this. Shocker, I know. But like, so first it's once fiber is in, there is no maintenance cost to it, like ever, unless somebody cuts a wire, which shouldn't happen because that's why you have to call to fucking dig anything. Like,
yeah, 811.
Yeah, that like just shouldn't happen. So there is no maintenance cost. There is no upkeep cost. There is no anything they have to do. Once the fiber is in your house, they don't have to think about you ever again. Whereas with the way because it's not satellite internet, it's fucking microwave internet technically. And those towers, as you've noticed, require much upkeep and are way more expensive to run because they have to power each and every one of the towers and do all of this and do all of that. And then there's more, technician costs, because this is probably them switching to fiber is probably going to cost a bunch of people their jobs because suddenly they don't need technicians anymore for like anything. It's a whole big thing with that. But also, the funnier part about this is literally everywhere in this country was supposed to have fiber internet ran there literally 2 decades ago. The U.S. government paid literal trillions of dollars to all of the ISPs to run all this new infrastructure, and literally none of them did it. They just took the money and did nothing. And now, 20 years later, the infrastructure's bad, and now they don't have the government paying the way for them to do this. They have to just figure it out. And that's why it's so slow. Had they done this 20 years ago, everyone would be happier, everything would be working better, but no. Because greed. Right. And this is why capitalism is bad.
Well, so part of the reason why the fiber they've been so adamant about getting fiber to everywhere now is because the Green Deal or whatever that was passed under the Biden administration was part of that bill was focused on critical infrastructure, and internet was part of that critical infrastructure. The only difference is In the bill, if you receive the funding from this bill to put in fiber and stuff like that, you are legally required to do so.
Yeah, because they,
So
the government learned their
I think
lesson from last time.
exactly. That's exactly what happened. It's like, well, we're not going to just give you money and then you not do anything with it. We're going to legally require, if you decide to take this money, you will use it for what it is, intended to be used for. So that's why we're getting fiber. Pretty much all the towns around us have gotten it except for our town. So yes. So someday, hopefully not 2 years from now, but hopefully a few months. I know the guy, the technician I talked to when he installed my internet. I asked him, I was like, well, are there any plans to add fiber to this town? He says, well, I haven't heard anything about this town, but he says everywhere's supposed to get it. And he said, I know there's a bunch of movement that's going to be happening over the summer. So hopefully that movement involves our town. So I don't know. I'm getting by on the internet that I have, but I just cannot fathom how nice it would be to have 2 GB download speed.
I can, and now I don't have it, and I'm a little sad.
So they don't offer it where you're at?
They claim to, but it just doesn't.
Does it? Yeah.
Like, yeah, right now, it's weird. Right now, I think, we've spiked a little bit. Yeah, right now, I think I'm sitting near you. I'll tell you what it actually officially reads at. Yeah, it's 86 megabytes per second download, but then like 200 up for some reason. Oh no, my up is going down, which sucks. Up is what's more important to me though, so.
Right.
But it's like, this sucks.
The download's nice. The upload's, low ping, and upload is the important part when it comes to playing video games. It just sucks when, like me, who has a 17 gigabyte download, and it takes me 45 minutes to an hour to download 17 gigabytes, which is a lot better than what I had years ago. I still remember when I had Verizon internet, and 17 gigabytes download would have taken me 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was a time.
That's probably part of the reason why my PS4 sounded like a jet engine, because it'd have to run for 3 weeks at a time. Yeah. Trying to download something on crappy internet. But yeah, it is what it is.
Man, the amount of saying that I've had to do lately is tough. But hey, now there's 2 Mr. Peakses in the background. There's one here and one there. So that's something. They just be staring at each other all the time. Yeah, I'm the real one. I'm the real one. No, I'm the real one. I don't know. I don't think I got anything else. What about you?
No, I'm pretty well fried on the storytelling.
All right. Well, guess that'll do it for us. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.